Hello, friends. I am Chevee. Welcome to my shed. How are you doing today? How is life in your world? I hope everything is good where you are. Everything is good here. It is late. I had soccer practice tonight with my kiddo, and she is leaving tomorrow for a tournament in Washington, D.C. that I don't get to go to, but you know, I get to keep in touch, so that's good. And if you haven't noticed, this bandsaul's back together, and it's not jumping. It's not bouncing up and down anymore. That's good. It's got a new problem, which I have to solve, but it's not a difficult problem to solve, I don't think. We'll see. And I did not fix it by filing this bushing down anymore. I worked on this bushing for a while. It's fairly hard, so my files don't want to cut it very well. They cut it, but very slowly. And I mean, I was going at it, but what I've come to realize is, number one, I'm not getting a very even grind on it, and number two, there's just no possible way for me to get it thin enough, because it ended up it needed to be like 20 thousandths, and there was no way I was going to get there with a rubber mandrel and a file. It literally was not going to happen. If I had a lathe and I had a way to chuck this, I probably could have turned a good sized, perfectly sized shim down. But as it stands, that's just not an option. So I paused, I thought about it, and I came up with the solution of I went and drank a Coke, which I don't drink soda, so that was odd. For one, gave me a little sugar rush. I don't drink soda unless it's diet or just, So I drank one of these so I could cut the little middle section out of the bottle, which I believe, now that I've taken it apart and looked at the old shim, I believe that that's what I made the old shim out of, was a soda bottle. And I cut a piece and I tried to double stack it, and that was too thick. So I think I told you last time when I measured this, it was like 15 thousandths. That would have been 30 thousandths. 30 thousandths was too much. So that's why I said, this wasn't going to happen. This bushing thing wasn't going to happen. So plan D or G or Q, I don't know how many plans deep I am at this point. I wanted to put it back together. I want to use it, but I was just trying to think about how I could get it close for now. Close is good. And what I ended up doing was black tape. Hear me out. I put strips of black tape lengthwise along the shaft, and it took 3 pieces of black tape to make the full circumference of the shaft, and then the plastic bushing over top of that. So only 1 layer of black tape, because I think that this tape could compress a fair bit if it was more than 1 layer deep. But I figured 1 layer of this with the plastic shim on top and the wheel on top of that would be pretty damn close. And it was a very snug fit to get the wheel back on. But I got the wheel back on with 1 layer of tape, 1 shim, put the key back in it, and it's pretty true. I mean, it's close. It's not perfect, and I don't know that it could ever be perfect with tape and plastic, but it's really damn close. It's close enough that I don't feel like I'm going to hurt this saw. Now, the new problem that I have is Jonathan sent me this Timberwolf saw blade. Timberwolf bandsaw blades are supposedly amazing. Everybody I watch on YouTube speaks very highly of them, so I was like, I really want to try one of these Timberwolf blades. And it's been on my wish list for a long time, and it's really cool. I really love this information document they sent with it. You might be able to find this online somewhere. This is Timberwolf bandsaw blades from Prime Tools. This little document right here is like the 101 course on bandsaws, because if you've ever used a bandsaw, it's kind of intimidating. It's not like a table saw where you turn it on, you can see the saw blade, and you go. This has a whole lot of little intricate things. Tension on the blade, where you set the blade on the wheels, the backstop, so the thrust bearing, the things that melted on mine, the side bearings, where you set this vertical stop. There's a whole lot of little details that people get intimidated about. And on top of that, the blade. The blade could be, you know, 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch, 3/8 of an inch, 1/2 inch, 1 inch. You can have huge blades. How many teeth per inch? What the teeth rake is? What the teeth set is? This little document really goes into detail about all that, and it's actually really cool. I'm not going to say I knew all of this, but I knew most of it. But they're tensioning the way they want you to tension the blade. I had never heard of this method before. But it seems to work well. It cuts clean. The problem I have is it's got a very aggressive rake. So the teeth are not. So if you have a blade where the teeth are straight up and down, that blade wants to make straight cuts because the teeth are just cutting straight ahead, right? So on this, the set of those teeth are like this. And what that means is the blade is actually cutting a wider path. But because I have a tooth that's shooting off this way and I have a tooth that's shooting off that way, I can make turns in the wood and I'll always have a teeth cutting into that turn. And so I can make sharp turns, which is awesome, which is why I wanted this blade. The problem is that where the blade wants to sit on the wheel, so the wheel, if you look at the side profile of the wheel, it actually has a crown on it. And you want the blade to sit so that the teeth are ahead of the midpoint. You don't want the teeth sitting on the crown of the wheel or it could flatten the teeth. Probably never would. I have urethane rubber tires on here, so that's never going to flatten the teeth. But everybody will tell you you should set it so that the teeth are just off the center of that wheel. Which means with this particular blade, 1/8 inch blade or 1/4 inch blade, with the rake that goes on those teeth, or the set that's on those teeth, not the rake. My blade guides, which I put on here from, I forget the name of the company. They're roller bearing guides instead of the little blocks. They won't move back far enough, so they're kind of hitting the teeth, which is not where you want them to sit. You want them to sit behind the teeth, and I can't make them go back any further, so I have to sort that problem out. Beyond that, though, I'm pretty happy with soda can tape and a Timberwolf bandsaw blade. So I guess I can thank Jonathan for more than just the blade. The blade was the impetus for me to actually try to fix the saw, which has not been running properly since I've owned it. So without the new blade, that it is this expensive blade, I don't want to break it. I want to use it. It's awesome. I would have probably not have fixed the saw. So thanks, Jonathan. Appreciate that. Thanks to all of you for everything that you do for me, because even if you just come here once in a while and watch a video, that is amazing. And I've gotten quite a few comments from people lately saying they haven't watched in a while, but they check in every now and then, and it makes me feel so good to know that they're willing to come back. You know, they've been here and they've seen what I offer, and yet you're willing to come back, and that really means the world to me. So thank you for that. Thank all of you for being here. As always, you are amazing, wonderful people. I appreciate you very much, and I'll see you tomorrow. Alexa, tell me a random fact.
Artist Neil Harbison is completely colorblind, but has a camera on an antenna attached to the back of his skull that translates colors into sound. He can even hear infrared and ultraviolet.